Everybody sit up straight in your desk. Class is in session, and today we are going to be discussing basic biology. Hey, for the best meat you have ever eaten, check out samsbutchershop.com. Go and shop around. When you go to checkout, enter the promo code T for a 5% discount. Check it out. Good morning, everybody. Trailer Trash Tim coming to you from beautiful Fort Yargo State Park in Winder, Georgia. I got a few days off and I decided to pull my little Jayco camper over here. So I hitched up, drove her over, and I've been staying here for a couple of nights. Beautiful campground, and I thought this morning we'd go on a little hike and have a little chit chat. What do you think? Hey, thanks again for being here. If you would very quickly give me a thumbs up on this video down below. If you just hit the old like button. If you would subscribe to the channel, that would be fantastic, and come and join our growing community. Thank you so much again for being here. You know, when I was a little boy, I played with G.I. Joes, and I played with Tonka trucks. I love me some Tonka trucks. I had no inclination to play with Barbie dolls or baby carriages or anything like that. I was all boy. And thankfully, I was raised by a hardworking father and a hardworking mother. And my father went out and worked hard every day, and he provided for our family. And my mother was a homemaker. She stayed home and tended to a house, raised her sons. She did a fantastic job, I think. She kept us fed, kept us clothed, kept us housed, kept us educated, disciplined us when we needed it, and just maintained the house. She ran our house. She filled a particular role, as did my father, that came to them, I would counter, from their creator. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, women have no less importance than men in this world, nor do they have any less value than men in this world. But we are different, and we have different callings on our lives. We have different things we need to do and things we need to accomplish in our lives, and it's okay. This is a traditional view of men and women, marriage, family, the home, where you have men who are fathers and women who are mothers if they are parents. And that's a good thing. That's by design. But that traditional nuclear family, as we know, particularly in the West, has been under assault for quite a while now. I'm gonna go up here to this, I think it's a little amphitheater, so I can have a seat because the trail's kind of running out on me and I'm running into spider webs. About around the 1970s in America, in the United States, we had a man on television by the name of Phil Donahue. I don't know how many of you may remember Phil Donahue, but he had a daily talk show of sorts where he would bring on guests, and it was in front of a live audience. And Phil Donahue was a man who I believe really did a lot to undermine the sort of traditional values and the traditional family structure that I'm talking about this morning. And he was he was a symptom of a problem that I think began to manifest, probably started in the American educational system earlier than that. And then we had another man. These two men are glaring examples to me of what constitutes an attack on traditional manhood. And the other man I'm thinking of was a man by the name of Alan Alda. Alan Alda was an actor who was most famous for starring in a show called MASH, a sitcom that was based on the Korean War, actually the Vietnam War, but it was set for the Korean War. The show was funny at first, but it got preachy the longer it went. But anyway, the point is, there was always this subtle or not so subtle assault on masculinity and the notion of men being men and women being women. And these men, in my opinion, along with Oprah, did more to undermine the traditional role of men in American society than anyone else I can think of, aside from certain political leaders. Well, I want to tell you this morning, it's okay for a man to be a man, and it's okay for a woman to be a woman, and it is completely natural. But things are so twisted in our country now, where we have men who want to compete in women's sports, we have men who want to dress like women, and women who want to dress like men, and the whole concept of a sexual difference between them, or a biological difference between them, is being swept under the rug. And we have political leaders in this country, such as the president, who comes into office blatantly declaring that the woman or the person he nominates to the Supreme Court is going to be a black woman. And he puts on display his press secretary and parades her as being a woman of color who also happens to be a lesbian, as if these are the qualifications you're looking for when you're looking to fill a position. Now, why would we do that? Why would we parade people just because of their sex or their sexual proclivities? Why should that matter? Well, it matters to them, and the reason it matters to them is because they have an agenda. And their agenda is to assault the concept of the traditional family. A man and a woman, a husband and a wife, is completely under assault in America today. That's troubling. It's troubling to me. It should be troubling to you as well. I'm going to tell you straight up, I believe we have a creator, and I believe that our creator created us as he created us for a reason, male and female. That is good. That is natural. That is wholesome. That is the way it's supposed to be. It's okay for a man to be a man, but now in America today, men who try and act like men in so many quarters are made to feel guilty just because they're a man. And you're not supposed to act like a man. You're supposed to be effeminate, and you're supposed to be feeling, and you're supposed to be touchy, and you're supposed to act act inferior to women for some reason. I'm an old-time traditionalist. I'm 62 years old, but I've been this way my whole life. I think it's okay for a man to act like a man, to work with his hands, to get dirty, for boys to play in the dirt with their Tonka trucks like I did. If somebody had stuck a Barbie doll in front of me when I was a kid, I would have walked away. I don't want to play with Barbie dolls. I want to play with G.I. Joes and race cars and Tonka trucks, not easy bake ovens. But you know, as I grew up and I began to interact with women, it was perfectly natural for me to open the door for them or compliment them on the way they looked or their dress or what have you. To be a gentleman. To respect a woman, not to look down on her and not to see myself as being better than her. You know, we're not talking about cavemen here. Nobody's dragging a woman around by her hair. We're just talking about common human decency and proper etiquette and respect for everyone. One of the appeals, I believe, of Donald Trump is the fact that he came off as a man's man. He just barreled through the debate saying, this is what we're going to do and this is how we're going to do it, whether you agreed with him or not. All these other candidates were, let's say, less masculine than Donald Trump, but there was something about his masculinity, his rugged rawness, I think, that appealed not only to men, but to a lot of women as well. A lot of them were turned off by it because a lot of Americans today have been educated in government schools by effeminate men and women who bought into this whole agenda that places that seeks to take out men, take their knees out from under them. I looked at this latest Republican debate. What a lot this bunch of guys were. And there was a point when the moderator of the debate asked him something of the effect, I only saw a clip of it, they asked him something of the effect, would you support Donald Trump if he's the nominee? I think the question was, or it could have been, would you pardon him or something like that? And Vivek Ramaswamy, to his credit, immediately raises his hand. And all the other candidates are kind of looking around, kind of half-hearted. And the last one to raise his hand was Ron DeSantis. And he looked around the room first to see what everybody else was doing, and then he gave it one of these. That's not a leader. That's not being a man. Vivek Ramaswamy was like, hell yeah, I'd support him. We need leadership in the world today, and I'm not saying women can't provide it, because they can. But I am saying to men, it's okay to be a man. It's okay to be masculine. It's okay for you to assert yourselves. We don't treat women, we shouldn't treat women inferior, and we shouldn't degrade them in any way. We should respect them. But it really is okay to fulfill traditional roles of men and women. If you're a woman watching me, it's okay to be a woman. And there's nothing wrong if a woman aspires not to be a career person, but if she wants to simply be a homemaker and a wife and raise children, she should be applauded. That is a wonderful thing. And it's okay for a man to go out and work and drive a truck or work with his hands or become a physician, whatever he wants to do. That's okay too. It's simply okay for a man to be a man and a woman to be a woman. We have strayed so far from these traditional ideals, but we need to get back to them. And we need to let those of us who believe in that traditional nuclear family unit and the concept of a man being a man and a woman being a woman, we need to have our voices heard. You know, I know that so many people, watch my videos, and so many people in America in particular are just feeling hopeless anymore because they feel like they're out there alone. They're fans of Donald Trump and they feel like their voices have been taken away. Well, you still have a voice. There are still things you can do besides voting, which you must do. But you can let your voice be heard, and people will listen if you do. That's why I started this whole channel. I didn't know if anybody's going to watch it, but people are watching it. And you can do something too. You can join with us right now, and hey, that's what you should do. Listen, I'd like to hear your comments on the traditional roles of men and women and what manhood is all about, and what being a woman is all about. Put your comments down below. I would love to hear your comments as well. So let me know how you feel. Listen, I thank you so much for being here on this wonderful Thursday. I'm heading back to Alabama. Thanks so much for being here, everybody. This is Trailer Trash Tim. I'll see you tomorrow.